On that dazzling yet cold night, my boyfriend Calvin publicly demeaned my appearance in front of his friends and abruptly left the restaurant, leaving a hefty bill for me. His harsh declaration, "A girl like you should be grateful I even dated you," instantly shattered my pride, and I could only respond with a bitter, resigned smile. Reflecting on our 2 years together, I once believed that our shared Netflix nights, family dinners, and even our awkward yoga sessions were proof of a solid bond. Yet, Calvin's constant sneers about my attire and dismissive comments had long lurked in our everyday life. That day, when he suddenly invited me to a dinner with his colleagues, I eagerly broke my budget and prepared meticulously for an evening I thought would be warm. Entering the upscale, secluded restaurant, I noticed Calvin in hushed conversation with 2 coworkers, his disdainful gaze sweeping over my newly chosen navy dress. In an instant, the once tender atmosphere turned awkward, my words were repeatedly interrupted, and the fond memory of how we met was reduced to a favor you owed him. Retreating to the restroom, I steadied my shattered makeup in the mirror, fighting back the trembling in my heart. Meanwhile, a stream of missed calls reminded me that the nightmare was far from over. Calvin then flaunted a friend's night out on social media, as if I were nothing more than an expendable extra in his narrative. In the ensuing days, as I revisited old texts and photos, the fabrications of his life slowly unraveled. My dearest friend Vera further exposed the truth. Calvin was nothing more than an ordinary assistant, and all his so-called major projects were mere fiction. In that moment, I realized his apparent brilliance was nothing but a fleeting mirage. Matters came to a head at his birthday dinner. Although Calvin continued to hide the truth from his family, I resolved to reveal it. Standing before his once warm relatives, I calmly and firmly recounted the humiliation at the restaurant and the deceit in his work life. Their shocked and disappointed eyes left him momentarily speechless, while I reclaimed my dignity. Throughout the dinner, his flimsy defenses crumbled under pointed questions, and Cody bravely testified to his dishonesty. Amid the heavy silence, Calvin tried to claim I was exaggerating, but the serious looks around the table had already condemned his falsehoods. In that instant, though wounded, I discovered an empowering sense of liberation. In the aftermath, his family offered sincere apologies and invited me to stay for the remainder of the dinner, while Calvin crumbled under professional scandals and familial reproach. I began rebuilding my life, grateful for the friends who stood by me in my darkest hours. Now, after the storm, I have learned to cherish the independent, brilliant rainbow that emerges once the rain subsides.